Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And yeah, this is a story about two presidents, okay? You've got President Donald Trump in America, and you got the corrupt ANC government president Cyril Ramaphosa in South Africa. Now, in America, President Trump is taking the coronavirus very, very seriously, and that's self-evident. You can just go to YouTube and you'll see he's set up a special committee run by the vice president to look into the coronavirus and how best to stop it spreading. And that includes banning people from certain countries coming into the USA. On the other hand, you've got Cyril Ramaphosa with a completely shot public health system, clearly represented by a public hospital system that is a disgrace across South Africa, who is taking an alternative stance. And, you know, for those South Africans who are concerned about the coronavirus spreading through South Africa, my best advice to you is don't panic. Because if you've taken the steps I've suggested, which is prepping, having enough stuff to see you through the cyclone, it's like a cyclone. You just shut it down, bunker down, wait for it to go past, because when it hits the townships, it's going to be devastating. And you know that first fellow who came in, who was identified with the coronavirus in Hilton, in KwaZulu-Natal, that 38-year-old, now you've got Africans on social media blaming him for the coronavirus coming into South Africa. Well, I've got a message for them. It's already there. It's already amongst you. And don't blame the white person for the coronavirus spreading throughout South Africa. Blame your president, Cyril Ramaphosa. And I will spell it out to you where he differs from President Donald Trump, who has taken the sensible approach, even though the tourism industry in the US is being devastated. But of course, Ramaphosa, trying to appease everybody, is not acting on the threat, even though when it comes to South Africa, unlike America, the South African health system is going to melt into nothingness. You won't even worry about the National Health Insurance Scheme. That'll become a joke. That'll become self-evident in the months to come as winter approaches. Right, let's see what I'm talking about. I'm going to add some meat to the bone here. President Cyril Ramaphosa said it is still too soon to issue a travel ban regarding the deadly coronavirus outbreak that is engulfing the globe with no sign of abating. Do you hear that? He said it's too early. So when it comes to South Africa, and when there's anarchy in South Africa, you know who to point the finger at. Not that 38-year-old in Hilton, KwaZulu-Natal, but at the president of South Africa. President Ramaphosa has also urged South Africans to be on high alert and take the necessary precautions to contain the outbreak. He said, "It is still too early. We've just got two, so let us keep watching how this thing carries on. The government will keep our people informed at all times. We did say that we will be transparent. We will let people know. The important thing here is to avoid fake news spreading of false information." Well, talk about fake news. The cover-up of corona cases around South Africa is a legend, and that'll become self-evident in the weeks that come. I can tell you now, guys, that I'm getting so many reports of, and I know they're unsubstantiated, but they're coming from different people from different parts of South Africa saying, hey, we know of a coronavirus case in this town or that town or the other town. This thing is not lying dormant, and it makes sense. Look at America. The virus is now in 34 out of 50 states of America. Yeah, lots of deaths. Look at the Grand Princess. Everybody on there is on quarantine, 3,600 people. That boat in Egypt, similar situation. And it spreads through that environment because people are, it's like being in an incubator. You know, everybody is passing on the germ to each other. That's what happens on cruise boats. And that's why the American government is put out an official travel advisory saying, do not get onto a cruise boat. That is an official American advisory. Now, worse than a cruise boat is the townships of South Africa. That's like a cruise boat multiplied by 100 when it comes to the infection rate, because of the way that people live, cheek and jowl. And because people have got TB and they've got HIV/AIDS and all these other things with their immune systems being down, it's going to be devastating. It's not going to be a 3% death rate. It's going to be closer to a 30 or 40% death rate. That's my prediction. It's going to be like the Black Plague in the townships. And you can blame your president, Cyril Ramaphosa, because he is refusing to prevent the virus coming into South Africa. This is on his watch. And as I've said before, it's like God's hand. It's like God saying, you've done over my people too long, you heathens. And he's giving the minority groups, including the whites, the opportunity to turn this all around when the ANC just go to mush and the townships are in complete anarchy and chaos, which is sure to follow. Anyway, let's continue with what Hippo Eyes has to say. The president's remarks come amid growing travel restrictions and closures of borders around the world as efforts to contain the outbreak continues. He was speaking at the African National Congress Women's League, or ANCWL, inaugural presidential golf day and gala dinner on Saturday night, shortly after the second case was confirmed in South Africa. The man and woman... sorry guys, that's just the reporting. It should be the men and women were part of a group that returned from Italy recently. Italy is the worst hit country in Europe. President Ramaphosa has promised to keep the communication channels open. He said, all of us as South Africans must now be on high alert on things such as continuously washing our hands, because they say that it's spread in the way. So washing our hands, and if you cough, you should cough with a handkerchief or a tissue and dispose of it immediately. So if you contain the disease in that way, I think we will go a long way. Now, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Zuma. Remember Zuma, where he said, to get rid of AIDS, you just go and have a cold shower, or you just go and have a shower, and you'll get rid of that virus, the HIV/AIDS virus. This is how uninformed Ramaphosa is. He is completely clueless on this really serious subject. Anyway, let's continue. Meanwhile, the Democratic Nursing Organization of South Africa, or DENOSA, has expressed confidence in the ability of the staff at the Charlotte Maxeke Hospital in Johannesburg to deal with the quarantine and care of the country's second coronavirus patient. The hospital is one of the 3 designed health facilities to treat patients with a COVID-19 infection. DENOSA Gauteng chairperson Sifiwe Gada said all protocols will be followed. Well, mate, if they can't handle it in China, they've got to send people home into quarantine in their apartments. How is South Africa going to handle it when you've got tens of thousands of people pitching up at your public hospital saying, we need to be treated? It ain't going to happen. The public health system is such a disgrace, you'd be lucky to treat one person in the whole of the country. And clearly, once the ANC politicians start getting this disease, guess what? They're going to be the ones who get the preferential treatment. Mark my words. And their beds are probably already stuck aside for them exclusively, like the Royal Box in some theatre in London. It's a disgrace. This is South Africa today. Anyway, Simfiwe Gada said, "I can say that the patient that has been taken to Charlotte Maxeke will be isolated. All the protocols as prescribed also by the World Health Organization and the Department of Health must be followed and will be followed." Now, this is again where the logic factor comes in. We talk about this so much. They're talking about now. Okay, they've got, I think, 7 people in South Africa right now who've been identified with the coronavirus. Wacky-doo! You should be able to deal with those people in one little hospital. Should be no problem at all. But make that 7,000 people? But you see, the L factor doesn't see that. They only see the 7 people. That's how they're saying everything is fine, we'll look after it. Let's watch. Mark my words, a couple of months' time, it's going to be chaos in South Africa. It's going to be absolute chaos. That's my prediction. And that's why I'm saying to these groups like Saitlanders, ULA, Boereligion, etc., etc., etc. There are dozens of them. Guys, get together. And the members of these groups should be speaking to their leaders and saying, sit around a table and get together, because unity is strength. And the ANC has screwed us around too much. Once they just collapse in a heap because of what will happen, the anarchy that's going to take over South Africa, that's the time for the adults in the room to stand up and say to the kids, move aside, you blew it, we're going to take back over what we once left you, or what remains of what we once left you. And that's the time that secession of a part of South Africa is the perfect remedy. All right, guys, I'm going to say no more than that. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video. Please share this video. And above all, please stay safe. Bye for now.